You're welcome to Pastor's Diary. Today, Pastor is in the kitchen. Maybe some of you think that Pastor does not know how to cook. I'm boiling meat, and then we prepare rice for dinner. So sometimes, you could help mommy out in the kitchen. You could help your wife out in the kitchen, just as I am doing today. So it's a Pastor's Diary. This is a new episode, and today I'm going to be talking on the difference between 6 and half a dozen. Difference between 6 and half a dozen. It reminds me of what happened. I think that's about 8 years ago now. 8 years ago, thereabouts. A lady came to my office and told me and said, Pastor, my husband told me that he will show me the difference between 6 and half a dozen. And I now looked at her and she laughed. And I looked at her and I said, do you know the difference between 6 and half a dozen? No, she said, I don't even need to know. He's threatening me. He's threatening me. Hey, upon everything I've done. I said, calm down. Do you know the difference between 6 and half a dozen? She looked at me and said, well, for all I know, yeah, they are the same. 6 is 6, half a dozen is 6. I don't even know but I know it's a threat. Many of you have heard that say, I will show you the difference between 6 and half a dozen. Do you really know what it means? I'll tell you. But that will be after I finish with dinner. Okay? See you soon.
So, it's time to eat.
Okay, good to be back. Just had my wonderful dinner. And like I promised you, I said I was going to tell you the difference between 6 and half a dozen. Let me say this very clearly. 6 and half a dozen are not equal. Yes, math tells us they are equal, but they are actually not equal. There is something that brings a difference, that makes the difference between 6 and half a dozen. It's just like somebody saying 6 and 9 are the same thing. If you write 6 on the floor, somebody standing at the base of the 6 will see it as 6, while somebody standing at the top of the 6 will see it as 9. So when you say the difference between 6 and 9 is the position where you find yourself. So the difference between 6 and 9 is positioning. Likewise, there is a difference between 6 and half a dozen. The difference between 6 and half a dozen is perception. The way you look at it, the way it is to you, the way you understand it. That is why perception is defined as the way you see something, the way you regard something, the way you understand something, the way you interpret something. That is perception. Now somebody will say, but Pastor, 6 is 6, half a dozen is 6. What is the difference? Let me break it down in a more simpler form so that it will be easy for you to understand. If you go to a marketplace where goods are sold at wholesale prices and also sold at unit prices, if you want unit price, they will sell. If you want wholesale price, they will sell to you. And you get there and you say you want to buy 6 tins of milk. The person selling will look at you and see that you do not understand that there's a difference between the unit and the wholesale prices. So what will she do? She will sell the 16s. For instance, you want to buy 16s of milk. She will sell the 16s of milk to you at the unit price. For instance, if one thing costs 100 naira, she will sell 16s to you at 600 naira. Whereas the man or the customer or the woman that understands that in that same place you could get the product at wholesale price, he or she will just get there, and instead of saying give me 16 of milk, he will say give me half a dozen of milk. Now, when you are buying half a dozen, you are paying at wholesale price. For instance, if one tin of milk costs 100 naira, a dozen of the tins of milk will cost about 1,000 naira. That is the wholesale price. So by the time they share the wholesale price into two, he will be buying, or he or she will be buying 6 tins of milk at 500 naira. That is the difference between 6 and half a dozen. Perception. The person that is selling, the way he sees what you are asking for. You that you want to buy, the way you see, the way you understand what you want to buy determines the price that you get. So there is a difference, a clear difference between 6 and half a dozen. And the difference is what? Perception. Just as I was telling you earlier, the story of that lady that came to me about 8 years ago and told me what her husband had told her, that I will show you the difference between 6 and half a dozen. And she didn't understand. Although she knew she was being threatened, but she didn't understand what the man actually meant. What the man was actually saying to her was that I will show you that I am not who you thought you married. Your perception of me is different. I actually deceived you. I actually deceived you. You are not getting the right picture of who I am. When someone tells you, I will show you the difference between 6 and half a dozen, the person is telling you, you are misjudging me. You don't know who I am, really. I will show you my true self. And true to the word of the man, he actually made an attempt on the woman's life. But thank God, I had been able to put her through to understand what the man was saying. That the man was telling you that he will show you that he's a different kind of person. He's not the man you thought he was. She thought she married a very educated man, a professional, not knowing that she married a beast. She married a murderer. Now the question today is, what is your perception about life? What is your perception about challenges? What is your perception about God? What is your perception about His word? What is even your perception about your neighbors? The truth is this: many of us have gotten it wrong. Our perception about things is so wrong that we keep moving from one problem or one challenge to the other. Basically, what I'm telling you today is the reason why many people, even the people that call themselves Christians, children of God, remain in perpetual bondage, remain in perpetual problems, because their perception about things, about life, about even the word of God that they read is completely astray. They are not getting it right. Their perception is wrong. Check your perception. When you are faced with a little challenge, what is your perception about it? Some people are faced with challenges and it even makes them stronger. They look at it as this is small fry. But others are faced with similar challenges, and I've seen people attempt to commit suicide, or even committing suicide because their perception about that particular challenge is wrong, totally, completely. If you remember the story of David in the Bible, he went to the war front to supply food and other things his brothers need to them. But when he got there, he saw this giant man coming out, abusing everybody, cursing everybody, insulting even their king, cursing the God of Israel. And the young lad, just about it, he was a teenager. He was shocked. Why would all these soldiers sit down and this man will come out every day and continue to insult our God and rubbish everybody? And he went to the king. He said, King, I need to go and bring this man down. And the king said, come, small boy, do you think they are joking here? Can you see the size of this man? This man comes out every morning, every evening. No one can go because we are looking at him. Where do we even want to start to deal with this man? At the fling of his sword alone, about 50 people are dead. We don't even know how to attack him. The army of Israel were seeing Goliath as a giant that would kill everybody at once. Their perception about Goliath was different. But when David got there, he saw Goliath in another light. The perception that David had of Goliath was an easy target. In his eyes, he looked at the giant, looked at his head. This man's head is very big. This man's body is very big. If I take 5 stones and I'm able to hit him in the right place, he will come down. In fact, this man is an easy target for me. Me that have used my catapult to kill smaller targets. This one, I will get him down. The perception of David concerning Goliath was totally and completely different. So David did not defeat Goliath because of his strength. David defeated Goliath because of the perception he had about him. In fact, David showed Goliath that there was a difference between 6 and half a dozen. He took 5 stones and just one, because he saw the easy target. One was enough to bring him down. All the other soldiers that were there, with the many years of experience, would not get him down. What is your perception about life? For those of you that are yet to marry, what is your perception about the person you are about to, you are getting married to? Very important. And you must get it right. That is why you see some people, they will go about running after people that have money, thinking that yes, the man is rich. No, it goes beyond that. They will not get into the marriage and then they will say that the person they married is a complete different person. The perception, your perception about everything, every single thing in life determines what you get out of life. I hope that clears your mind on this subject matter. If you have, other things you want to comment or other angles you see about what I've discussed today, please Just drop it in the comment section and let us chat about it more. The difference between 6 and half a dozen is perception. And the difference between 6 and 9 is where you are positioned. Never forget that. So till I see you next time, God bless you. Have a wonderful day. And remember, this is a pastor's diary. Today is the 16th day of August 2024. Bye bye.